Now, with it being another nice warm sunny day, we decided we'd go to Roberts Park at Saltair. Now, we don't live too far away from this place, a 15-minute, 20-minute ride, and we're there. To get to Roberts Park, we go through Salt's village at Saltair. Now, Saltair is what you call a Victorian model village, and it's in Shipley, West Yorkshire. And it's between the River Aire, the railway, and the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. Now, Salt's mill and the houses were built by Sir Titus Salt between 1851 and 1871 to allow his workers to live in better conditions than the slums of Bradford. Now, it ceased production in 1986, and it was then converted into a multifunctional location with an art gallery, restaurants, and the headquarters of a technology company. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and on the European route of industrial heritage. It's a great place to visit if you've never been. There's shops and little cafes, and there's lots of things to see. You can have rides on the canal, on the canal boats. And just across the river and canal, there's the Shipley Glen tramway, which is also unique. It's a small railway which takes you up the hillside. Incidentally, in Bradford, like Salt Model Village, there was also another one that a lot of people don't know about, which was totally demolished many years ago, and that was called Ripleyville. And that was built by the mill owners, or the dye work owners, Ripley's Dye Works. And this was to house its workers, and it was built with the same kind of thing like Salt's mill. Its own community, its own church, everything was for the workers. It was quite unique, and of course it was pulled down. It wouldn't have happened in this day and age because it was quite unique, and I'm sure it would have been equal with Salt's village. Unfortunately, all they built in that area when they pulled Ripleyville down was horrible looking industrial units. And now we're approaching the bottom of Victoria Road, and we shall make our way down the slope and then over the river and into Roberts Park. Here we get a view of the canal, Leeds Liverpool Canal, and the barges are moored. You can get rides on these barges up and down the canal. We're just going over the bridge. Now, when we get into Roberts Park, there's two items I'm eager to see. They've been here now for a few years, and they're quite unique. So I'm hoping they are actually still on display.
Amazing.
It's quite a nice walk over this bridge, and you get a terrific view of the mill, and down here the River Aire with the weir. Now, just to the right, the far right of the weir, there's usually a heron there. It's always there whenever we visit this place, obviously looking for fish. Overall view of the park there, the cricket ground on the far left. Now we get another view of the weir. There's another view of the weir, part of the mill there. Well, I can't see the heron. It must be there somewhere, I'm sure.
Go down.
We're making our way into the park, but
Yeah, I'll go down here.
we actually did a U-turn here. This route takes us past the cricket pavilion, but we weren't going this way this time, so we just made a U-turn at the bottom of here and made our way back up the slope.
That's a long way around. Walk round that way coming back at cricket pitches.
Now, Roberts Park was designed by William Gray and it opened on the 25th of July 1871, and originally it was known as Saltair Park, and it was bequeathed by the Roberts family to Baffa Corporation in 1920, and they renamed it Roberts Park in memory of Sir James Roberts' son. Sir James Roberts was a local businessman who took over the Salt's textile empire. He also donated the statue depicting Sir Titus Salt, the prominent mill owner and founder of Saltair village, as it stands today. In 2001, Saltair village, including Roberts Park, became inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Now, just going into the park, we came across these unique items on display. I don't really know what they were. Some kind of artwork. Very interesting. That look like they've been done by children. Very nice. Now, the last time we came to Roberts Park, there was a cricket match going on, but there was nothing being played today. Mind you, with it being a weekday, I would imagine it's on it weekend. I think it was weekend we came last time, and the cricket match on.
Last time we came, there was a cricket match on.
Well, it's certainly a hot day today and everything's tinder dry, and there's somebody over there having a barbecue. And it's obvious they've not seen or taken any notice of the signs scattered around the park. A little bit irresponsible. And with the grass being dry and everything else dry there, it's just asking for trouble. Is that one careless mistake, and there could be a grass fire very easily. I know it's nice to have a barbecue and I like one myself, but it can be a little bit irresponsible doing this when it's so hot and the grass is so dry. And speaking of dry, we've just arrived at the right moment at the cafe. So I think it's time for tea. Well, I've heard people say, why have tea on a hot day? Well, tea's very enjoyable, choose what sort of day it is. And after a relaxing cuppa, I've always felt revived on weather like this. Now, this is known as the Half Moon Cafe, and it's quite a pleasant cafe to have a cuppa. You can sit outside or sit in, and it also doubles as an art gallery. There's some lovely pictures around the walls, and they're all for sale, and it's great if you want to watch the cricket. Now we're making our way to the end of the park, the far end of the park, and with the intention of going up the slope at the end to go to the upper area of the park. But unfortunately we forgot that there is no slope, it's a series of steps. So when we got to the end, Elizabeth had to turn around and make our way back, as I went up the steps and walked to the upper area, to the items of which I was particularly interested in. Still, it was a pleasant walk, and I think Elizabeth enjoyed the view. Right, I'm up on the promenade now. Just walking along this pleasant area. And there in the distance is the salt mill chimney. Well, now I'm approaching the two unique items I was eager to see, which I mentioned earlier. And there they are. Two huge cannons. In 1871, Sir Titus Salt bought two cannons as original features for Saltair Park, which was renamed Roberts Park in 1920. Now, one of the cannons was fired during the Battle of Trafalgar, and it remained in Roberts Park until they were needed again. But unfortunately, they were melted down during the Second World War. So these two cannons here are replacements for the original ones, which were destroyed in the Second World War. Now these two 10-foot long cannons, which weigh about 4.5 tons each, they were originally produced at the Low Moor Ironworks in Bradford in around 1846, but were never used in battle, as they were retained by the company for display in its foundry. And when the firm closed in the late 1950s, the cannons went, I believe, to Rotherham, and then I don't know why, but somehow they came back to Bradford in the 1980s and went on show at the gates of Moorside Mills Industrial Museum in Eccleshill, and they actually rest on 1-ton carriages. There's Elizabeth waiting for me. And now we're on our way back out of the park. We haven't actually gone fully around the park. We never walked at the other side where the cricket pavilion is, and we just really came to look at these cannons and have a cup of tea in the cafe. That's the Park Lodge on the left there. And what we're going to do is make our way to the canal side by crossing over the bridge again. But first I'm going to have a look at the weir down this area, and there you can get a decent view of the bottom end of the mill. Now I can see the heron by the wall in front of the bottom end of the mill. Probably won't be able to see it on camera, but it's definitely there. Yeah, there's a regular customer there. Now we're just making our way back over the bridge to the canal side. We plan for a small walk along the canal. But I'm afraid this did not go as planned. There's a view of the boathouse inn along the side of the river. And there's a good view of the River Aire. And now we're going onto the canal side. Just to be a little bit cautious on this canal. The cyclists, majority of them are very good and considerate, but you do get the odd one or two which just don't seem to care. And we've had a couple of scares over the years with cyclists speeding along and not warning anybody. And we plan to walk along the canal for about half a mile or a mile or so, but unfortunately it didn't work out. The mobility scooter was very uncomfortable on this path, and Elizabeth was in a lot of discomfort. Actually, we should have gone the opposite way, where it's a lot smoother, and I think it's paved and tarmacked in some places. We could have walked onto Wapley Bridge, but we decided to go on this way, which was a mistake. So we turned round just a little bit further on. Well, this is where we called it a day on this path. Just couldn't manage it, so about turn we did.
I followed you up.
I'll tell you what, Robert.
Well, we decided to have a sit down. Well, I did on this on a bench here, wooden bench, and we had some unexpected visitors. It was great fun to watch these fellas go by.
Two young ones, look.
Well, they seemed very tame, and they weren't bothered by us. I think they were after some tidbits, I think, but we did not have any. And if I had any bread or anything, I wouldn't feed them bread. I think that's a mistake, feeding bread. You see a lot of people do that. Really, it's the worst thing you can do. Well, that was it really. We just now make our way back to the car park, back up the Victoria Road. The duck's stopping for an ice cream, good luck of it.
No, coming up.
Yeah, I'll go on, you're alright.
I don't need any water because I'll be
I believe this is called the west facade of Salt Mill, and there's a view of the United Reformed Church built by Sir Titus Salt. I think it's under restoration at the moment. You do have to be a little bit careful walking on some of these pavements. Now, I'm not too sure about this building. I believe this was the company dining hall, and it were available for the staff of Salts Mill, and they brought their own food and have it cooked. They could purchase a cup of tea or coffee, a bowl of soup, or a plate of meat. A passageway leads beneath the road from the yard of Salts Mill to the company dining hall. Incidentally, the buildings of Salts Mill were all built from the same local stone. Here we're just crossing over the railway of the station at Saltair. And now we're having a look in some of the shops further up the road. Now Elizabeth just pointed out the Shipley Glen tramway. If you're at Saltair, definitely pay a visit on this little railway. It's only small, but it takes you up the valley side. I think it's only open at Saturday and Sunday. I will leave a link below for the Shipley Glen tramway, and also a link for Salts Mill.
Oh, that's a gallery, is that? It's an art gallery. No. Oh.
I think some of these places only open at the weekend. I'm not too sure about that either. Well, now we're just about to pass the Victoria Hall, which was built in the Italianate style, and I think it was completed in about 1871. Now the Victoria Hall, or Saltair Club and Institute, was erected for the benefit of the community. It was both a social club and an educational institute. There was a reading room, a library, a room even with a billiard table, and an art school. Now it houses the Reed Organ Museum.
On Titus Street. Just hang on a sec.
And in the middle, where the sign can be seen, is where the Bradford Model Engineering Society hold their monthly meetings.
Yeah, right.
Now we're about to walk on Titus Street and get back to the car park.
Stop there. Another car.
So be careful crossing this road, it can be rather busy. Well, that more or less concludes our visit to Saltair and Roberts Park. Well, obviously we haven't walked around the village. We didn't do a complete tour. We didn't really have any time to spare. But I hope you found this of interest, and once again, thank you for watching.